Hey y'all, it's Screen Scene Guru coming at you with another video. This time I want to talk about the Tolteca. This is a topic they talked about on Ancient Aliens I recently watched. Hopefully you guys caught that video, but real quick I do want to go into the definition of the culture. I just pulled up on Google real quick. I'm going to go over it. Tolteca refers to an ancient Toltec people and a culture in Mesoamerica, which was what the episode was about, going over the artifacts they've recently discovered there. I guess they found them 30 some years ago, and they were in journals and books, but they weren't televised. They weren't publicly, researched until now, 2025. So really interesting stuff. Known for their advanced artistry, architecture, like Tula, the influence or later civilizations of the Aztec, meaning artisan, craftsman. It could also be referred to specific business, such as La Toca in Mexican foods. Toltec civilization in Mesoamerica. Who were they? Pre-Columbian culture, centered in Tulan, Mexico City. The meaning is the natural being or natural one, Tuluca. So that's interesting. Or it also translates to craftsmen, so people that worked with stone. Very interesting stuff here. Their achievements is they were master builders, sculptors. Going on, they molded figures, serpent columns. So that was another big thing. They talk about melt works, creatures of fine textiles. So big things like that. They recently found their codices in Mexico City, which is like a fold-up comic kind of. But it describes their histories and everything that went on with their gods. So that's really interesting. So they're Rosetta Stone, but found in Mexico City. So really cool stuff there. Legacy profoundly impacted the Maya and the Aztec cultures, stories, and their rulers. The god Quetzalcoatl became central to Mesoamerica mythology. They talked about in this episode of Ancient Aliens, there was Quetzalcoatl, and there was a trickster god, and they had a religious war on the surface of the earth, and the people ended up going with this trickster god, and that's why it led to a lot more human sacrifices pre the Spanish, Portuguese coming in to basically spread conquering and war and disease. They were going through a big sacrificial period because their gods were warring. So very interesting stuff there that has been going over in the histories. Let's see. Anything more about it? Now it's wanting to take me to Wikipedia, but there are some really cool images you guys can pull up if you just look up Tolteca. These giant pillars, which I do want to pull up real quick. World history, do they say where they are? They're in Mexico City, so let's see. It's La Totuca, Spanish to English translation. I'm wondering if they say the location of the figures. They talked about in Ancient Aliens, but I'm not sure. Where are the Toltecs? A quick look at the Toltecs. Look up statues, maybe. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of them. Mexican culture. So they talk about let's see, Atlantean figures. So the Atlantean figures are four anthropomorphic statues of beings of Toltec culture, pre-Columbian Mesoamerican. These figures are massive statues of the Toltec warriors. They take their post-Columbian named from the European tradition of similar atlas or Atlantean. So yeah, a lot of people figured that where the Toltecs actually came from, their origin story is that they had come from another land, this land of Atlantis or Atland. So really interesting stuff there. We do know that the Aztecs and the Mayans were perfect at working with water, clean water, and also just having irrigation works when a lot of other cultures were struggling with that. They got that passed down from the Tolteca. So really interesting stuff there. Let's see what else. Though the most famous Atlantean figures reside in Tula, the Olmecs were the first to use Atlantean figures on a relief discovered in Pontonura. Mayan sculptures also created Atlan figures in Chichen Itza. So that's also in Mexico City. Furthermore, the Aztecs also created warrior statues strongly inspired by these Atlan figures in Tula. So all the cultures after built statues the same, but these ones specifically in Porto Nuevo, the columns form the Toltec warriors in Tula literally have spacesuits on. They have what seems to be body, armor, as well as weapons on the side of their hands, and that's why I wanted to do the thumbnail with that specific art, but in an animated form. But yeah, what did you guys think of this Tolteca civilization way back? They're saying this is pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, and they had possibly contact with aliens, what they considered their gods. Really interesting stuff here. I hope that they go more into this, with other TV specials and different things like this coming out. But yeah, really cool that the Atlantean figures, I hadn't heard about them before, but apparently they were discovered in Mexico in the 80s. And it goes more into them. The earliest example of the Atlanteans in Mesoamerica at Porto Nuevo. Let's see, in these altars supposed by two Atlantean figures created by the Olmecs. So yeah, there's some of them holding up pillars. Believed to be the oldest Mesoamerican example of these Atlanteans holding up the ceiling. Let's see, Toltec Atlantean figures from Tula. Tula has long considered to be the capital of the Toltec people. Tula, one can find the temple of Tetonascan, the house of the morning star, of the temple of the Lord in the dawn, where are four Atlantean figures standing over 4.6 meters or 15 feet tall. So really awesome stuff there. They're very much like the figures on Easter Island, is what I thought of when I saw them. So very interesting stuff. The figures here are depicted as wearing stylized, beautifully breastplated, sun-shaped shields on their backs, feathered headdresses, and carrying spear throwers and a supply of spears. So yeah, but several others also have examples of high technology, what looks like to be spacesuits. So very interesting stuff there. They also talk about Teotihuacan, the feather serpent god, what it looks to be like, contraptions where he's pulling gears and moving cranks to work his serpent craft, which they believe is a spaceship. So that's very interesting stuff. But yeah, that's all they have on that. But I just thought I'd do a real quick video on it because I thought it was really neat. Let me know what you guys think of all the interesting stuff they are now discovering with our new tools and devices. Let me know down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment on the video if you haven't already. I've made it up to 85 subscribers. Thank you very much for all the love and support, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.